again, Chestnut class. This is day 2 of this week's learning journey, and you'll notice that it says day 2 afternoon, and that's because there is a day 2 morning video that you'll need to do first. So if you haven't done that video, please go back to that now and then come back to this one when you're ready. And likewise, if you haven't done Monday's video, you're going to need to go back and catch up. But otherwise these videos aren't going to make any sense to you at all. And it's important that you do this so that you feel ready and prepared for our meeting on Friday. So let's start with a recap. Our learning inquiry question this week is, how have I faced the challenge of home learning? And on Friday you're going to have a meeting with myself where you're going to be sharing work that you're proud of and explaining why you're proud of this work. You're going to discuss a challenge you faced and how you've overcome it. And you're going to share a target that you've set yourself for next half term. Now this morning we were focusing on our proudest achievements. Our focus this afternoon is challenges I have faced during home learning. So what you're going to need to do first of all, Year 6, is turn to a clean page in your learning journey book. You're going to need to write the date at the top of that page and underline it with your red pen and a ruler. If you don't have a red pen, use a different colour, that's fine. And then you're going to need to write this title in your book. When you write the title in your book, please check you've copied the spellings correctly and that you've joined your handwriting. Okay, so pause the video and do that now, please. Okay, we're going to begin then just by using the top left-hand corner of our page. And we're going to keep it quite a small area because, as you can probably tell, we're going to be adding more to this page. Now, what we're going to do over in this corner is what we call a bit of a brain dump. So I'm sure as soon as I said that we're thinking about challenges, that you could probably name 5, 6, 10 things that you have found really difficult during home learning. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit of a list here and we're going to dump all those things over here. So you might have found the internet really difficult at your house. You might have found it hard to use Class Dojo. You might have found reading really tricky during home learning. You might have found it really hard to concentrate. Or perhaps you found it really hard to wake up on time. I'm sure Year 6, you've got your own things that you have found challenging. So just in a small corner at the top of your page, I just want you to dump all of your ideas over there. Okay, so pause the video now then and do your brain dump and then come back when you are ready. Okay, Year 6, I'm sure you've got a big heap, a big pile of things that you have found challenging. But rightly so, I think it was Lewis who mentioned in our tutorial that one of the key words in our question is I. So I want to know what challenges that you have faced during home learning. So we need to think about which of these that I've dumped over here are really personal to me. So for example, everybody has probably found Class Dojo really challenging. That's not really that personal to you. And I'm sure lots of people have found the internet really annoying and a challenge. That's probably not personal to you. So you're going to have to think really deeply now about your personal challenges, not what's a challenge to everybody else, what's been a challenge to you. And underneath or sort of in the middle of your page now, you're going to draw a picture of you. And you might want to just draw an outline, or you might want to spend some time doing a little self-portrait. That's up to you. It's not the drawing, Year 6, that I want you to spend your time doing. So if you're going to do a drawing, you'll need to do that later as an optional extra. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to pause the video now and do your outline. or draw a box that you're going to come back to later and put your self-portrait into. Okay, so hopefully then you've got your person or your box ready, and you're now ready to begin to think about your personal challenges. So and now around your person here, you're going to add your challenges in. So one of your challenges might have been time management. So waking up on time, or organising your day. Okay, they may have been things that you found tricky. You might have found taking part or participating on Zoom tricky. You might have found it a challenge to organise your day. Okay, you found it challenging to have a timetable and stick to it. There might have been lots of things happening in your house, around you, that's made it really hard to organise yourself. You might have found your well-being during lockdown hard to manage. So you might know that you've not been drinking enough water, for example. You keep forgetting to drink your water, and you know that you've not been getting enough fresh air or having enough time away from the screen. That might have been one of your challenges. One of your challenges might have been staying motivated to do all the subjects, not just maths or not just reading. Okay, last idea then, you might have found resilience hard. You might be somebody that thinks, I don't know, and you give up. Okay, now what I'd like to do now, Year 6, is think about you and what's personal to you, and then around your person or your box, you're going to add in now your challenges. And I would try and think of 4 or 5 that you know you've really struggled with and that you're going to be able to talk about in a moment. Okay, Year 6, so hopefully then you've got your little person or your box where you're going to put your portrait, and you've got a few things listed around your person now. Now you're going to need a different colour pencil or pen, so I would pause the video now if you haven't got that ready and go and get one. Now in your different colour, you're going to think about things that have helped you or kept you going during lockdown. So for example, you might have been talking to your friends regularly because that's cheered you up and kept you going. You might have been working with your friends on Zoom. I know some of the boys have been messaging each other and FaceTiming each other and doing their learning together. You might have been somebody that's had to get out and walk the dog lots, and that's cheered you up and kept you going. You might be somebody that's been playing lots of sports or getting out for hikes or to the beach. You might have been having some quiet time to yourself. Maybe you've been having a relaxing bath each evening, or you've been doing some reading or colouring. Just spending a little bit of time to yourself away from the screen. Or you might be somebody that's been listening to music and dancing around the house. Maybe you've been playing board games with your family. So using your different colour pen then, Year 6, you're going to add to your page now all the things that have helped you or kept you going. And then when you've done that, come back to the video. Right then, Year 6, it's time now to take our learning a little bit further. So underneath your person or on the next page in your book, you're going to start to think about your light bulb moments. And what that means is any ideas that you've had to help you overcome the challenges. So you might have thought, oh, I know, I'll try and do this to help me stay motivated. Or, oh, I know, I'll do this to help me be really organised. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, underneath your man or on the next page, is to maybe draw a little light bulb or somebody using their thinking cap, and then to write in this title. How have I overcome the challenges? So you'll remember before we were just listing the challenges. Now we're thinking about how we've overcome them. And when you write that in your book, Year 6, please copy the spellings carefully, punctuate your question correctly. Right, so hopefully you've got your little person or your little light bulb moment and you've got your question. Now, you're going to think of a challenge that you think you've overcome or you've started to overcome. And you're going to write that challenge on the right-hand side. Now, it needs to go right over on the right-hand side because you're going to do a little bit more writing in a minute, so you need plenty of space. Please make sure you've spelt that challenge correctly. Now you're going to think, okay, if my challenge was organisation, what did I try and do? How did I try and overcome it? And I've thought of 3 ways that I've tried to do that. So I used my pencil and a ruler to add my 3 ways in. So one thing that I was doing to help me be more organised is when I woke up in the morning and I was ready to do my learning, the first thing I did was check the Class Dojo story. I found the post where it listed all the things that I had to do in that day. Okay, and I tried to do that first of all. And then I thought about, right, it's really noisy in my house and I can't concentrate. I don't know where my working space is. I keep losing my pens and pencils. So one thing that I tried to do was set up a space where I could work and where I could keep all my equipment safe and organised. Another thing I tried to do to help me be more organised is to write a to-do list. So what I did on a piece of paper, I wrote down all the things that were in my portfolio, and then as I did them, I ticked them off to try and help me be more organised and to make sure I'd done everything that I needed to do that day. Okay, Year 6, so it's time to pause the video. Double check you've got your challenge that you're overcoming. Then you're going to try and think of 2 or 3 ways that you tried to overcome that challenge. Then when you're ready, come back to the video. Okay, Year 6, so what did you try? How did you overcome your challenges? You're now going to think, what happened when I tried those things? What was the impact? Now, it might have worked really well, or it might not have worked, and that's okay. Let's have a look then. Now, when I tried these things, it worked for me. So I'm going to talk about that first of all, and then we'll have a look at what you would write if it didn't work. Now, when I started checking Class Dojo first, the impact of that was that I felt calmer. I knew what I was going to have to do that day, so I didn't feel overwhelmed. When I wrote my to-do list, I knew that I could take brain breaks because I could do my spellings and then I could have a break and do my maths next. Because I had my working space and my equipment ready, I could do my best in my learning because I had everything I needed and I wasn't going to be disturbed. I wasn't going to be disturbed or distracted looking for my things. Okay, I was organised, I was ready to go. So, Year 6, it's time now for you to think about your impact. So you might want to draw an arrow like I have and then list some of the positive things that happened when you tried to overcome the challenge that you faced. Okay, now what happens then if it wasn't positive? If the things that you tried didn't work? Now you can be really honest, Year 6, and you can say it didn't work, so it didn't help me to check Class Dojo first. So I tried. So what did you try to do instead? And then you might have another arrow of impact this side, which shows what your second idea did and how that impacted you. Okay, year 6, I'm going to ask you to pause the video now and have a think about your challenge, how you tried to overcome it, and the impact of that. So then you'll know how you've overcome the challenges that you faced. And then when you're ready, come back to the video. Okay, so the final part of your afternoon then is a short reflection, and don't worry, it's not as long as the one we did this morning. Okay, you may have noticed we're sort of 15 minutes into this, so I won't be taking up too much more of your time. Now, on Friday, I'm going to ask you these questions or something very similar. So I'm going to be asking you, how have you faced and overcome your challenges? What did you try? What worked well? What didn't work? And why? What do you need to do to overcome? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So what do you need to do to overcome your next challenge? How will you do this? So those 3 questions again. How have you faced and overcome your challenges? What did you try? What worked well? What didn't work and why? And what do you need to do to overcome your next challenge, and how will you do this? Now, some of you will be able to use this page and talk really confidently about answer those questions. But I know lots of you will find that really tricky if you don't plan it carefully today. So I'm going to help you plan carefully now, and it won't take very long, I promise you, how to answer these questions. So what you'll need to do is somewhere on the same page or on the next page, I probably recommend a clean page, is you're going to need to write reflection. How have I overcome the challenges I faced? So if you pause the video now, year 6, and you do that and underline it with your ruler, you'll be ready to think about the next bit. Okay, so you're going to use this page to write your reflection. So this might be something that you start off by writing. How have I faced the challenge of organising myself? I have faced the challenge of organising myself and my learning by making a desk space at home. This helped me to focus and do my learning. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now, year 6, just to have a go, be brave, have a go at answering that question. There's a little starting point to get you started. And when you've had a go, come back to this video. Okay, so hopefully then you've got a starting point. And just like this morning, you're going to need to think about how you could improve that starting point. So have you really explained? Have you justified what it is that you want to say? Remember, it's a bit like you're trying to persuade me that you've overcome your challenges. So you really want to think about justifying and explaining and telling me why. And in your book, on your very first page, you wrote some different ways to do that. You said, well, I can use words like because. Let me go back to that slide so you can see. Looks like this in your book. Over here, you told me how you can explain. Brackets, dashes, colons, because, therefore, furthermore. Okay, so you've got ideas already that you can use. So let's have a look then. The biggest challenge, so I've started my sentence now by saying what I'm writing about. The biggest challenge I have faced is organising myself and my learning. I'm going to explain now why this is a challenge. So I'm doing the why part. This was a challenge because I was working on my bed, where things distracted me and it was hard to write in my book. Okay, so I've said why. I'm going to explain that a little bit more now. I decided that I needed a quiet space that was still my own space, where I could concentrate and keep all my learning equipment in one place. Okay, so now I've explained what it is that I wanted to try and do. I tried to do this in the lounge or the living room, but it was too noisy and I couldn't write on the floor. Next, I tried working at the table. This was the best place to work because I could focus, lean on the table and organise my Chromebook, exercise books and stationery each day. Now, I chose just one part of my sort of flow chart here to write about. I chose about this middle part, but I can extend this to go on and think about writing about my dojo story, my brain breaks, and my to-do list. So this is just a very short example, year 6. So let's just make our notes of the structure to help us. So I've said what my challenge is and why. I've said the things that I tried and whether it worked or not. Then I explained more things that I've tried and I talked about the end result. So that should help you to structure your paragraph now. When you've written your paragraph, you'll need to think about using cups, just like we did this morning, to edit and improve your reflection. And remember, year 6, this is all about being able to answer these questions here really well. Now, I would ignore this one if I was you for today, and that's going to be the one that we come to on Thursday, so tomorrow. Just focus on the top 2 for today. Okay, so a quick recap then. You're writing a reflection to answer this question. How have you faced and overcome your challenges? What did you try? What worked well and what didn't work and why? You're using your flow chart to help you. And there's a structure here that you can use. Say what you did, why you did it, what you tried, and whether it worked or not. Did you try something else again? And what was your end result? Remember, you're explaining why, you're justifying, and you're giving examples as well. And then at the very end, you can use cups to help you edit and improve your reflection. I'm not going to go through cups again because we spent a long time doing that this morning. Right then, year 6, I've definitely twittered on enough now, haven't I? Hopefully you're feeling quite confident that you can give that reflection a go. I cannot wait to see how you've overcome these challenges and the different things that you've tried and the different ways that you've been thinking and challenging yourself. Okay, good luck everybody. Take your time, do your very best, and I cannot wait to see what you've written. Have a great afternoon.